Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is magical. It's like stardust. As someone who grew up with the franchise, it has been nothing short of a delight to revisit my two old pals and some new friends in this intergalactic space adventure on the PlayStation 5. The premise of the game is that after capturing the Dimensionator in 2013's Into the Nexus, the robotic Clank has configured it to allow Ratchet to find his people, the Lombaxes. However, the pair's long-standing foe, Dr. Nefarious, appears and steals it to catapult himself along with Ratchet and Clank into a dimension where the villain always wins. It's there that we meet another one of her protagonists, Rivet, the female equivalent of Ratchet who never found her version of Clank. Frankly, playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart feels like playing a Pixar film. The gorgeous environments, cheesy dialogue, and buttery smooth transitions from gunplay to cutscenes is nothing but a marvel. It's incredible to see what developers Insomniac Games have got the PlayStation 5's SSD doing, from quick loading to literal jumps through the universe. That being said, the game is pretty cutscene heavy. In its first few hours, it feels like every time you're just getting into the swing of the action, you have to stop and watch Rivet or Ratchet having a chat. These cutscenes are very pretty and really do solidify this awesome feeling of playing through an animated film, but sometimes I simply wanted the game to let me fight more and talk less. Which brings us neatly onto guns. As longtime fans know, guns are paramount to the Ratchet and Clank experience. I'd even argue the story is often just set dressing for these weapons and how you want to use them. Picking up a new weapon may be the most exciting part of these titles, and Rift Apart has a pleasant mix of deadly faces and brand new weapons that are sure to become favourites. The DualSense controller guarantees that not only will you see the effects of these weapons on the screen, but you also feel them in your hands. To go with the guns is the all-important manoeuvrability of Ratchet and Rivet. When talking to Rift Apart's game director, Mike Daly, we asked if Insomniac learned any important lessons from Marvel's Spider-Man and Miles Morales. He mentioned the team tweaked Ratchet and Rivet's movement to flow better, and I think Insomniac have pulled that off perfectly. The controls and jumps and dodges available to you are so good that it makes other traversal methods obsolete at times. The game offers cool solutions during fights, but attempting clever things often leads to death. When wall running, which looks so cool, you're very open to getting shot and subsequently falling. The safer and better option is frequently, but awkwardly, hopping to a destination to not die. The same goes for rifts. To avoid getting shot when surrounded, it would seem sensible to tether yourself to a rift and pull yourself to another part of the level, but the animation leaves you vulnerable for a second or two. The safer option is often just spamming cross and circle and hoping you survive that way. Though there is a huge amount of new tech involved in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, long-time fans will feel right at home. I laughed hard as I recognised some familiar enemies falling through the rifts towards me. I followed my hunches to where gold bolts were inevitably hiding, and I got stuck into the arena battles. I even delighted in the fact that although the game doesn't need to show your ship flying towards your planetary destination, it lingers on that cutscene just enough to remind you of the necessary loading screens of older games. Those planets, by the way, are beautiful. Somehow Rift Apart manages to take you places you never would expect this game to go. At one point, I was stopped in my tracks when I realised I was in an alien-like situation, in an underground facility that should be bustling with activity and yet was abandoned and broken. You wonder if something really is creeping in these halls stalking you. Another planet somehow feels like I landed in Borderlands, while a third is so wide and free it's like an open world adventure all on its own. The variety of environments and new areas to explore left me really wanting more. Rift Apart comes with 5 difficulty levels: Rookie Explorer, Rookie Recruit, Rebel Agent, Resistance Leader, and Renegade Legend, so a wide scope of gamers get to play at the preferred level. I played the entire game on Resistance Leader, which is the game's way of saying hard, and I found it to be well balanced. After playing through on that setting once, heading back into the game on the highest difficulty or the challenge mode should be no problem, and I recommend that difficulty to anyone who's serious about Ratchet and Clank games or shooters in general. And speaking of appealing to a wide audience, one of Insomniac's main focuses was making sure that Rift Apart could be played by as many people as possible, which is why it has a huge range of accessibility options. Color contrast settings, customizable HUDs, aim and fire assists, the ability to slow the game for those that need more time, and more options are all available. That makes this the most accessible the series has ever been. All in all, I thoroughly recommend Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart to, well, anyone. This is the sort of game that anyone can play and enjoy, and although it's a shooter through and through, it's not violently graphic and the storyline is light-hearted and easy to get along with. I look forward to the future of Ratchet, Clank, and Rivet, and Insomniac's plans for the trio.